Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lil John's Yarns. If this is your very first time here, what I usually like to do is talk about all things crochet and drink a little bit of wine, coffee. But today I have a little bit of Bacardi in my cup because I'm back on the keto kick. But enough about that. You'll probably notice a little change again on my live stream. I have the most wonderful, talented, and beautiful Elise Rose Crochet on my channel. How are you doing, Miss Elise?
I am so good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just excited to be here.
I am so happy that you're here. The very first time, I met you was at Pam Grice's the Crochet Business Summit.
Yep.
It is so crazy to see real YouTubers on TV, like to see your feet. You have feet,
Exactly. Yeah.
and to see exactly how tall you are. You
Yeah.
always picture all these YouTubers being tall. You're not that tall.
No,
You're average.
no, I'm 5'2", so
No, you're not. You
yeah,
are tiny. Okay, because
I'm
we were
short.
near the places where we were doing our speech at. I remember, yeah, you are tiny.
Yeah, I'm pretty
I
short. I'm
got a
five
picture with
two
us.
with shoes on.
Yeah, I'm 5'7", so I'm
Yeah,
I'm
I
a I'm a
remember
tall
you being
girl.
tall. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna hop directly into this.
Okay.
So, Elise, would you be able to tell everybody who you? I'm sure they know who you are, but tell them who you are, where they can find you, and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm Elise, and my YouTube channel is Elise Rose Crochet, and I'm on my primary platform is YouTube, but I do have a website. I occasionally hop on Instagram and Facebook, but yeah, YouTube's my space that I really enjoy.
But are you any good on like Instagram and Facebook?
No, no,
Hey, do you do like reels? I try, and I'm like, I
no.
feel stupid.
I, every once in a while, but it doesn't feel really natural for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like YouTube. Yeah, I just have fun there.
I mean, you do so good at it. We were just talking about that behind the scene. Oh, and quick thing right now, hold on. Ugh, we're not gonna, no, I shouldn't do the bells, but I would like to say thank you to my favorite, Miss Lori Murphy. Oh, to my favorite YouTuber, such a lovely woman, isn't she?
Oh.
I just found out Elise is actually 95 years old. Look how beautiful she is for 95, right?
Yeah,
Always thought it was like,
I shared it recently, yeah, that I just turned 50, so big birthday.
I'm like, "Ooh, I didn't realize how old you were until you told me your son was 25."
Yeah.
I'm like, 35 minus 25 doesn't add up, but you
Yeah,
you looking good.
thank you.
But thank you so much, Miss Lori. So, how did this whole when did you start beginning like learn how to crochet?
I originally learned the basics, the just the fundamentals from my grandmother when I was around 10 or 11, and I remember being in 5th grade and making a chain that was probably 18 feet long, I
Of
didn't
course.
know what to do with it, but I just had fun with it. Um, but I really didn't pick it up again until 2016,
Mhm.
and, we were chatting before. I have a son with special needs, and, up until that point, his epilepsy was very well controlled. He did have to take medication for it, but, he was going through puberty, and in 2016, it took a really serious turn for the worse, and, we were in and out of hospitals, in and out of doctor's appointments. We were exploring brain surgery options. It got really serious, and I was in a panic. I was not coping with it well. And
Of
in
course.
turn, I wasn't being good for him. I was constantly going up to him going, "Are you okay? How are you feeling? Do you feel like you might have a seizure?" And he looked at me one day and said, "Mom, you have to stop. You have to stop. You're not helping me." And I realized, oh my gosh, he's going through the rough time. I need to get it together. And I knew
Yeah.
that I needed to find a hobby because we'd been extremely active. He was in tennis lessons and he was in school and he was doing all these things. And that all came to a grinding halt. We had to let his brain rest. We had to keep things calm. And I went from being in my car all the time to being stuck at home. And I thought, I'm going to go crazy. I need something to do. And I decided one night, I was like, I'm going to find a hobby and I'm going to find it tonight. I'm going to do it. I went on
Yeah.
Pinterest and I just started scrolling and I was just looking at everything and nothing was catching my attention until I saw this stunning granny square crib blanket that was designed by Alicia Paulson from
Mhm.
Cozy Gets Cozy, and it stopped me in my tracks. It's kind of one of those moments where this halo of beautiful light descended on my computer, and it was like,
Oh,
"Ah," and I thought, oh my gosh, that's crochet. That's what my grandmother used to do, and I remember her teaching me how to do some of those things, and so I literally went the next day, grabbed yarn that was not right for the project. It was a more advanced granny square that I could not do. I don't know
yeah.
what I was thinking, but I dove in and quickly realized I needed to start with something more basic, and I found a granny square tutorial here on YouTube, and I just didn't stop, and I found that it helped me, it calmed me, I felt and because of that, I could be better for him.
Mhm.
If I was settled and felt like, "Okay, I am doing something with my hands, I'm kinda getting rid of that nervous energy a little bit," and I just started making beautiful things, and I just have never stopped. Just kept on going.
Does your son know that he was the reason
Oh,
that
yeah.
you got a new path to life?
Mhm.
Like it
Yeah,
wasn't for him,
yeah.
you wouldn't be doing this at all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah. He knows.
Does he
Yeah.
gloat like, "You're only famous because of me, mom"?
Yeah, he knows he's very special. He's a very special guy, so, yeah.
Uh-huh. When did you say, "Okay," you got on Pinterest, you made a project with the wrong yarn. When did you say like, "Oh, this hobby is great. Let me put myself on YouTube"? When did this turn into, like, more than a hobby?
I knew pretty quickly that crochet was something different for me than anything else I had ever done before. I knew, like, once I was getting the fundamentals and I was wanting to crochet all the time, and I'm just the kind of person that if I love somebody, if I love something, I
Mhm.
want the world to know. Like, I'm an oversharer by nature, and I want everybody to love what I love. And so I started thinking about that, and I was also a homeschool mom. I homeschooled my kids, all 4 of my kids for 20 years, and I was coming to the end of that road. So my youngest graduated in 2020, and I knew that I was gonna need to transition to doing something different. And
Yeah.
I watched another YouTuber who I love, her name is Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone. I
Yeah.
had watched her stuff, she's just cooking and raising her kids and stuff, and, because 'cause I've always pictured myself on a farm, but I live in suburbia on a quarter acre lot, but so I would live vicariously through her, but she started talking about how her husband was able to quit his job and come basically work for her because her YouTube channel was doing so well and her blog, and she came out with a blogging course. And I thought, what have I got to lose? I'm kind of looking for my next steps, took the course and just decided this is how I want to share about this. And my goal was if I could make enough money to pay for the yarn. Any yarn
Yeah.
that I wanted, I thought and I didn't have to take that out of the
Man,
family budget, like, that was my goal at that point. And once I was able to do that and I was selling some finished objects and things like that, then I thought, "If I could make $100 a month, that could be
that's
like
it.
that could be a date night." We could go do something fun, and then it just kinda snowballed from there, and I've continued to learn and, expand my knowledge so that now this is a full-time thing for me.
How much of a shock was it for your family? Because, of course, you're the crazy yarn lady. Mom has yarn all over the house. When did they realize, like, oh, my mom's a big deal in what she does?
Well, I remember when I was talking to my daughter about, like, I think I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. So I have 2 daughters, and my girls are the ones who they're gonna tell me the truth. They're
Yes,
the ones
of
that are
course.
gonna say it like it is. And my younger daughter, Caroline, was like, "Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. You don't do it. You no, you're gonna make a fool out of yourself. You're gonna embarrass our whole family. Don't do it." And, but I am the kind of person that if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna be like, "Well, just watch me. I will I will do it. I'm gonna do it. If you tell me I can't, I really wanna do it. Um, and I think when I got my little silver play button for 100,000 subscribers, they were like, "My mom has a silver play button? What the heck?" You know?
Yeah, I know my kids were the same way. Like when I first started, like,
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of what the kids call it, cringy.
It was cringy, yeah.
That you're, but all of a sudden now my youngest, he's 13. He thinks I'm famous. I'm like,
Oh, that's so
nobody
funny.
knows me but a bunch of crazy yarn people. Nobody else. Oh, question for you. Has anybody recognized you in public yet?
Yeah, yes, but it was at a yarn crawl, so it was in a
Close.
yarn shop. So, I mean, in our world, but not in a normal, out at the grocery store or anything.
Of course not. But when you were in that yarn place and somebody said, "Are you Elise?" Did
Yeah.
it do something to your soul? Like, you
I
know
was
me?
like, "Wait, what? Me? Who? What?" I was you know what? It humbles me a lot just because I think I know how I look at other YouTube channels and I get like, "Oh my gosh," and to think that anybody would ever think I'm just the most normal, like, my craft room is a complete mess. I am always a hot mess. I always forget things. So, I'm yeah, it doesn't I will be honest, it doesn't feel real sometimes. It's just sort of like, yeah, you see a number and it's like, "Well, that can't be real."
I think that why that number is so big is because you are real. You're a normal person. When I first started looking at people on YouTube, when I got into this whole field,
Yeah.
everybody was so crisp, clean, prim, aesthetics.
Yeah.
You are just silly, funny, and yourself. You know what I mean? That's probably
Yeah.
why people love you.
Well, thank you. I hope so. I try to just be real. I try, and just share the good and the bad and everything in between.
We have a question for you. And guys, everybody who's watching right now, if you have any questions for Elise, just do exactly what Miss Lori Murphy is. Put question marks in front of it so I know you have a question and I'll read it to her. Elise, what is the best beginning pattern you have for crochet toys? I want to try.
Oh, I have a good answer for that one. So, this is Bubble. He is what I call Bubble the catster, because depending on how you make his ears, you can make him a little cat or a hamster, and I have the full video tutorial on my channel, a free pattern, the whole deal. So, I think this one's a really good one because you learn the fundamentals of magic ring, your single crochets, how to change colors, adding safety eyes, sewing on the little ears, and then doing that tiny little bit of embroidery. So this is a really good one for total beginner.
Awesome sauce. Oh, speaking of beginner YouTuber, what was your very first YouTube video that you put up? Do you remember?
I think I started out my very first one, I think I might have taken it down because they
Oh,
were so bad. I think what I did was it really wasn't a YouTube video, it was more like what we would call a reel now, and it was just I was selling finished toys, and I was just showing all the different finished toys, so there was no me talking, there was no nothing, it was straight up like, here's this one," so I think that was really but the one where I was talking, the first one I think I was comparing crocheted and knitted toys. It was
yes.
extremely informal. It might have been 3 minutes long, um, and I was extremely uncomfortable the whole time, so
Everybody, go to her channel right now, scroll all the way to the beginning
no,
and watch it after this.
don't.
Okay, we have some questions from the audience. I've got some more. Here we go. We got Lori's. I'm scrolling out. I've seen some. There we go. Woven Tail Designs, another crochet YouTuber. She's a beautiful woman. She does Disney bounding crochet. But if you
Oh.
can make only one type of amigurumi for an entire month, what would you make? Love that I could catch this live. Happy to be here. I'm glad you're here.
Um I am really into, like, amigurumi dolls right now, and I've been working on that for a while. Either that or pigs. I love pigs. I just love them, and their little pink body, I don't know. Something about them I really love. So that'd probably be it.
Okay, that's a little strange, but I like it. I had noticed you had mentioned, so before you YouTube, you were just selling your handmade items. How long were you selling finished items for?
I think I probably did that about a year, but
Mhm.
realized doing that I really didn't like doing it. I lost a lot of my love for crochet when I was trying to crank out order after order after order. There was something about it I just didn't really love, and I know people who do great with markets and they love that and that's so fun for them, but for me, I just really I lost a lot of that enthusiasm when I was doing that.
Amen. I was in the same place as you when I first
Yeah.
started. I'm like, I'm gonna crochet and do what I love. And you're like, I got an order of 25 hats. You're
Yeah.
only making like $35. I'm
Mhm.
like, there has to be a better way to
Yeah.
make money.
Mhm. Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
Mhm.
questions coming in. Hold on. Here we go. What can I use to make a finger yarn guide? Oh, I think this one's for me. I've made finger yarn guides. You go to the Dollar Tree, you know those little wires, those for flower wires, not like the ones with the wrapping around it. They're completely metal. Okay, I'm not going to dig in my stash because we're doing an interview. But Google Little John Yarns DIY finger yarn guide. You'll find it immediately. I did a whole video on that like 2 years ago.
Oh, awesome.
Woven Tail Designs. OMG, I just made my first Ami pig.
Oh,
I hope they trend one day.
me too.
Nay, they're piggies. I'm not even gonna get to my questions. People got so many questions for you. Lisa, else, do you have any helpful hints for crocheting a blanket? I don't really do blankets too much, do you?
Yeah, I do
Yeah, I
blankets.
do.
I do enjoy doing blankets. Um,
Um,
my biggest tip a lot of the time is to make sure that I mark, especially if I'm doing a row and I'm not doing a granny square, but I'm doing row by row, is I like to mark that first stitch of that row and the last stitch of that row because that's typically where I will either lose a stitch or add a stitch, especially if you have like a chain 3 that you're starting, all of that. So that is probably my biggest tip is making sure to mark those stitches so that your project doesn't go like this or like this.
mhm. Somebody's hitting at my vanity. Alicia, your hairstyle today is so cute. Thank you. I got my
It is
little
cute.
puffs. I'm sure Woven Tail Designs will like this. I probably look like Minnie Mouse with my puffs on my head. Lori Murphy says, "What is your favorite yarn to use for toys?"
Right now, see, I'll go through phases where I'm really into something and then it'll fizzle out, but right now, I am loving yarn art jeans. It's not a yarn that we can easily get here in the US, although you can buy it on, Amazon, but I buy it from Hobbiness Yarns online, and if you buy enough of it, you can get free shipping, and it's incredibly inexpensive. I think it's, like, less than $3 for a skein. But it's a
Nice.
cotton blend and it's a number 2 weight, so it's a pretty, it's a finer weight yarn. But it comes in 80 something different colors and lots of different skin tones and colors for animals and brights and neutrals, and it's just a really versatile yarn for crocheting toys.
Well, this is for my buddy right here, Knit and Crochet Tiger. These aren't on my headband. This is my hair. They're not Minnie Mouse puffs. This is my hair. Here we go. Miss Glow, she says, "What's your favorite yarn brand and crochet hook do you use?"
So I just talked about the yarn brand, but one of my favorite crochet hooks that I'm currently obsessed with, it's an Addy crochet hook. So I'm also
Okay.
a knitter
The
and I use
swing?
a lot of what? No, not the swing. It's
Okay.
called the Addy Comfort Grip. So it's just a little straight one, but what I love about it is that I use a 2.5 millimeter crochet hook mostly for crocheting the toys with the yarn art jeans. And it just has a really long point from the hook part all the way down to where the handle is held. And I absolutely love that. The metal is super smooth and it's very strong because if it's not a strong crochet hook, I'm gonna break it. So,
Yeah.
I really like and I don't see a lot of people using Addy crochet hooks, but they're fantastic.
See, I'm really picky with my crochet hooks because I'm
Yeah.
an inline crochet hook. I can
Okay.
do the tulip, it's kind of inline-ish.
Yeah,
Boy, I'm like, ah, it has a bulbous head. I can't use it. So
yeah.
the Addy, does that have a bulb head or more of a pointy head?
More of a pointy.
My girl, I like you.
Yeah.
Let's see, Woven Tail Design says, oh, you are Disney bounding hard as many. You are adorable. Thank you. Second question, do you prefer to work with cotton? And after you tried many Amis with Chanel yarn, have you tried many Amis with Chanel yarn?
I do prefer cotton blends over chenille. I just as much as I think the finished product with chenille is absolutely adorable, I love those little plushies made with the chenille yarns. I find that it's just harder to work with, it's harder to see your stitches, and I love amigurumi designs that have lots of details, and I think that's a little bit harder when you're using chenille yarns to get a lot of those details. And also if you and I frog a lot back and with chenilles, if it's not it doesn't frog always the best, so I am more of a cotton gal.
I'm being nosy in the background behind you. On the very top shelf, probably maybe on your left-hand side, what is that on the very top shelf behind you? The amigurumi, that little,
This one
yes,
this one is from Amigurumi. This is her little, it's her little
so cute.
spaceman. Isn't he adorable? It's from her book, it's called Amigurumi People.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Ah, I
that
love
one's
it.
so cute.
Michelle says, do you, even though you're a designer yourself, have your own favorite amigurumi designer? Can you name a couple?
Um, so I have some for crochet and I have some for knitting because I love to crochet and I love to knit toys. But for crochet, um, Jan Schenkel, who is from Animal Friends of Peek-a-Pow, she is absolutely she's like the best. She is just so talented. I've made so many of her toys. They have so much personality. They're very simple designs. They're not real fussy with all these little like this one has lots of tiny little details. Hers aren't like that, but they're perfection. So I love hers. Um, oh gosh, my mind is blanking right now. But
Katie.
oh
Oh,
my gosh, Katie from Hooked. What is it?
Katie.
Hooked by Katie, yes. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
her dragons, like, she is incredible. Like, her mind works in a way that my mind does not work. She has some of the most just unique, fantastical creatures. I love her stuff.
Personally, when I see people do amigurumi, to me, amigurumi is sculpting. It's I've always called myself a basic crochet designer. I be making mittens, slippers, hats, but amigurumi is literally sculpting with yarn. So credits given to anybody who creates yourself amigurumi design. So
I feel like mine are pretty basic. Mine are nothing like Katie's. Katie is really like, wow.
yeah, Katie got different levels. She has her own
Yeah.
course, and she was telling me steps to her courses. She's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if you do this type of increase, it creates this dome. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I make circles. I don't know.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Some of the questions that I have. Simple one. I know your name is Elise, but how did you come up with Elise Rose Crochet? Is it a middle name?
It's my middle name. It's super basic, just my first and middle name.
How long did it take? Were you thinking of something else at all? Like, what should my name be?
Oh, yeah. I had another name for my channel up until about a year and a half ago, and it was a French name that I could not pronounce, and I thought when I first started my channel that it was so chic and
Mhm.
wonderful, and I just thought it was gonna be perfect, and then I started getting comments of people French people saying, "You're not saying that right. This is not correct. You are." I was like, "Oh, no. Oh, no."
But
And
I'm
I
chic.
but I don't speak French. I don't have any French background. Like, I've done all of my ancestry DNA. There's no French in nothing French at all. So, I've never been to France. I don't know why I picked that. And then I just finally realized, like, I just need something that feels a little bit more like me. And, yeah, I changed the name. Yeah, but it was about a year and a half ago.
It's literally you,
Yeah,
Elise Rose. What do you do? Crochet.
exactly. Yes.
I get so jealous of some of these. Like, I'm sure you see it in the people who comment on your YouTube channel, the crocheters that have the coolest crochet
Oh,
names,
I know. I know, it's so fun.
right? Somebody's like, how did you come up with your name, Little John Yarns? My last name is Little John.
Yeah.
I work with yarn.
Yeah.
The end. Okay, we have some more questions. I don't want to miss anybody. Are amigurumis hard to make? That's what I'm sure she wanted to say.
No, I don't think they're hard to make. I think there are some that can be hard to make, but basic ones are not hard. If you learn how to make a magic ring, and you know how to single crochet, that's really the fundamentals of it. And I will say reading a pattern is probably very helpful, but there are tons of YouTube tutorials for how to do amigurumi. But if people already have a you already know how to crochet, it really no, it really isn't hard.
Hmm, here we go. My girl Lori Murphy. I have arthritis, me too, in my fingers. So you think I can still do amigurumi?
I think you can, and I think that you have to know your limits though, because for me, I do have some joint issues, and I have to be really careful with the types of yarns that I'm using, and I have to be really careful about how long I crochet. If
Mhm.
I get a twinge, we're putting it down. I will not crochet through pain because I did that, and I ended up with pretty severe tendonitis, and I also ended up with a cyst in my wrist and swell. It was just not fun. But one thing to really pay attention to is how different yarns affect your joints, especially in your fingers. And I would stay away from 100% cotton. I would stay away from bamboos. Anything, those are fibers that don't have a lot of stretch. And and you don't think of wools having stretch, but they do have more stretch. Acrylics have stretch. And you wouldn't think that that little bit of a cotton not having much stretch can make a difference. But if you're making hundreds of stitches over and over again, it really does make a difference. So I would stay away from cotton, 100% cotton for sure. I have found that now that things are healed up, I can use cotton blends, and I might dip my toe back into 100% cotton, but I'll be very, very cautious about it.
Oh, that's good. I would only think it's stretching. I would have never thought about the yarn. So you helped me with that also. Michelle, she says, "Hi, Alicia. Thank you for making so many of your patterns free. You and Elise, what a treat. Alicia, what is your favorite slipper pattern? I've made a few pairs. My absolute favorite slipper pattern is my peekaboo slippers.
Oh.
One day I was, you know, how when you're a YouTuber, you're running out of things to do, so you just do a stitch pattern. I was doing the arcade stitch, teaching people how to do that. And the more I did it, I'm like, I bet if I do the arcade stitch in a round for just two arcade, it created a flower when you did it perfectly in the round and a slipper. I'm like, so that's one of my favorites. And I did the arcade stitch on a sandal. So that one. Let's see, any more questions? I'm scrolling. Lori said, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Short violin player. I bet you're not tall at all. Is it easier to knit or crochet? And is Tunisian similar to knit? Did you want to answer? Because I
I
am
think
not a knitter.
I think crocheting is easier than knitting. And I love knitting as much as I do crochet, but I do find it's crochet, it's so easy to fix your mistakes. You just rip it back. And with knitting, it's just not that simple because those stitches are not completed. They're held on the knitting needle. So you
The whole
have
row
to
of it is held.
so you have to unknit. And that can for beginners, that can be kind of tough, and then also if you drop a stitch and it goes down and there are dozens of ways to fix your mistakes in knitting, it's just not as beginner friendly, I would say. I've never touched Tunisian crochet, so I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, that's Tony's specialty right there. If
Yeah,
you want to know anything about Tunisian crochet, I mean, Elise and I, great crocheters, but the Tunisian queen is TL Yarn Craft.
she
That's
is.
not us.
Yeah, she is the queen of Tunisian.
She's like the queen of all crochet and YouTube also.
I love
She's like
her.
a billion channels, like a billion subs right now.
Oh, I got to meet her at, H&H in when was it? April or May of this year, and
Mhm.
she is well, number 1, she's very tall. I was like, "Holy moly, she's tall."
Really?
Yeah, she's really tall. Um, and just literally the nicest person, because Tony is like who I idolize her. I just
Queen.
she does everything. And when you meet somebody for the first time, like at her level, I thought, I don't know if she's gonna be as warm and wonderful in person. And she was. And I'm telling you, at this conference, she could not walk 5 steps without somebody coming up and being like, Tony, can I get a picture? And she stopped and took time with every single person to make them feel special and to take a photo with them and ask them about themselves, and I was so impressed with her. She's just the real deal.
And I interviewed her once a couple years ago. She is the hardest working crocheter. Her business mind
Yeah.
is beyond what I could ever be.
Yes. 100%. She's
Like,
incredible.
I'm like, how do you just stay focused? Okay, sometimes I get lazy with working. My work day, when I first started, I was working
Oh,
extra
yeah.
hard. But you can slow down once the passive
Mhm.
income starts working. My work day now is 9 to 2 with an hour lunch break.
Yeah.
When I was talking to Tony's like, I wake up at the butt crack of dawn and I'm done working when it's dark. I'm like, that's why you're Tony. That's
That's
why you're
why.
Teal Yarncraft.
Wow. Wow. My brain shuts off at 4 o'clock. My brain literally just goes into shutdown mode, and I can't work after 4. It just doesn't work.
Because you gotta cook dinner, make sure the house is
Yeah.
put together,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Here we go. Got another question. Let's see. Alicia, I love your slipper patterns, but I need traction. Any suggestions? Yes, puff paint on the bottom of your slippers. Just little, you can even use a hot glue gun and just little dots on the bottom, instant traction, or caulking. All of those work.
Such
Let's
good
see. This isn't
ideas.
a question, but I see somebody giving compliments. Slow Living Home. Love Elise and her channel and blog. She is the best, sweetest, and such a sweetheart in a yarn community.
Oh, thank you.
You are, wait, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
We got some more compliments for you. I idolize Elise. Also have a question. How do you convince yourselves to start a YouTube channel and be confident about it? I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to crochet, but I'm afraid. We- I'll let
This
you go
is
first.
this is so common, and Alicia, I think you're probably gonna agree with me with this. You just have to do it.
Mhm.
Because you're never gonna feel confident until you start making videos. I heard somebody not that long ago talking about YouTube, and he said, "You've gotta make 50 videos. You just have to make them and know that they're not gonna be good. They're probably not gonna be very good, but you're practicing." It's really the same as crochet. You have to make it to get better. If we just studied crochet and never got our hands into that yarn and with a hook, you would never progress no matter how much knowledge you had about crochet. It's really about doing the work and just getting over it, and at some point, you just have to say, "You know what? If I look stupid, oh, well, who cares?
Mhm.
You know what? At least you got off the couch and you tried something and you went out and you put yourself out there." So many people are held back because they're afraid of what they might look like, and they'll never know if this could have been a great thing for them. So to me, I make a fool of myself every single day. So, you know, It's
Go
okay.
back to what you said when you said you went to your kids and like, I'm your daughters.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a YouTube channel, and your daughter's like, please, mom, don't
No.
do it. You didn't care that your daughter was like, please, no. You did it anyhow.
Yeah.
You made a horrible video and erased it. You shouldn't have,
Oh, yes.
but you continued. And
Mhm.
if you stopped, you wouldn't
Oh,
be
yeah.
Elise Rose Crochet today.
Yeah, and there's many times I wanted to stop. Many, 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 and then I would think, "Nope, I'm gonna prove," because I felt like not that people didn't have confidence in me, but I was older. I was in my mid-40s when I started my channel, and I felt kinda like an older person on this platform, and I just thought, "I just wanna prove that you can be older, that you can not be 20 something and be on here."
Mhm. And maybe because you look much younger than 95, you look 25. I'm picking with you. She's not 95. She just turned
No,
50. She's a
just 50.
beautiful.
Just 50.
Elise, when is your birthday? Mine is coming up on Wednesday.
Mine was last Thursday, so, the 29th. And happy birthday to
Yep.
you.
Yeah, happy birthday, short violin. Fairy Dust 80. Do y'all have a go-to for a Stitch dictionary? I go to make hats and scarves off the top of my head, and I just want to look at different stitches or something to incorporate, and my mind goes blank.
I mean, since I mostly do amigurumi, and that's mostly just single crochets, I do have a Stitch dictionary, but I don't use it very often.
Me personally, let's say I need something new. I'll just hop on Pinterest, look
Yeah.
up a stitch and say, what can I do with this stitch? I'm
Mm.
like, you know what? I can turn this stitch into a hat, like I did the arcade stitch. I took a simple arcade stitch that's usually, for a blanket or a border or something like that. I'm like, I'm going to do it in a round and turn it into a slipper. Let's see. We got more. Oh, people love questions for you. Hold on. I'm getting everybody. Are you a good reader? Because sometimes my tongue gets tied. Are you able to read out loud for a
Yeah.
second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Woven Tales Design said, I also have a YouTube channel of my own. I struggle with perfectionism all the time. How often do you make tweaks to your filming methods and editing methods? I am a perfectionist in recovery, I say. Um, so I think there is a sweet spot between trying to always be better, because I think that's important, is always working to be the best version of ourselves and the best video. Like, I wanna make the best videos I can make, but there's also a point where that can become a crutch where you're like, "Well, it's not perfect. I can't publish it. I can't go ahead and post this video because it's gotta be perfect." So, my motto is done is better than perfect, but I
Mhm.
am always striving to get better. So I do tweak things, and if I'm watching another YouTube video, I love like a home decor stuff or cooking, and I see like a little transition that they do. I'll think, "Oh, I wonder how they did that. How could I maybe incorporate that into my video?" So I am always tweaking, and especially with editing. I love editing. That's like my favorite part of it.
What?
I love
Wow.
I love the editing. If I didn't have to film, I don't love the filming part, but I love the editing.
Oh, me, I hate editing. Filming's not too bad. But this is also my tip for woven tail design. If it's something basic like a crochet tutorial,
Yeah.
I follow crochet tutorials sometimes. The crocheter is there for the information.
Yeah.
What you want to focus on is that thumbnail. They won't
Mhm.
care about anything else. Get to
Yeah,
the point, give me a thumbnail that they're probably going to click on.
yeah.
This is what I thought. She's 50? OMG, I would have never knew. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
And what another one, I started my channel in my 50s. We are currently living in the future. It
Yeah.
is 2024, almost 2025. Once upon a time, crocheters 20 years ago, to be famous, not even famous, you would have to write into a magazine
Yeah.
to get
Oh,
your,
yeah. Mhm.
and you still wouldn't make any money. Now,
Right.
people want to know who Elise is and about her personality and where you shop at Walmart and what you got there and picked up. And, I watch your videos. Here we go. Abby says, have you guys done acting or something like journalism? There's a reason why I'm so entertained by both of you. Thank you. Have you done any acting or journalism?
No.
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 No. When I was in high school, I was like the president of my VICA program. Does that count? I graduated a long time. I'm 44, so it's been a while. But no. But I was saying this is something. You know what's funny? When I was a little girl, I always wanted to be on TV, and I always wanted to be a model. Now it's the future. I You can watch me on YouTube on your television channel if you want to. So technically,
Yeah,
and I do model my own stuff because my children won't do it for me. So now I'm a model. I've become everything I ever wanted to do.
you did.
Here we go. Okay, weird question. What time is EST? Where are you? Eastern Standard Time. Personally, I am in if I'm in the United States, Eastern Standard Time is, if you don't know the United States, I'm below New York. I'm in Pennsylvania. What time zone are you in?
I'm in Eastern. I'm in North Carolina.
Okay, good, good, good. So we're the same, so it's not weird. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's 4:41. Thank you for letting them know. All right, guys, and if you have any more questions, let her know. I have some more questions. How did you learn how to operate this crochet business? Because I mean, you ran a family, you taught your children school, but this is completely different than being an online business person. How'd you learn?
I think the one thing that I did take away from my years as a homeschool mom is that I had to be self-motivated, um,
Mhm.
and I had to, do things that I didn't wanna do and make myself do them, and so I do think that that has been a thing that I've been able to bring into my crochet business is that I can set a schedule for myself, and I will make myself do it, so, that is the one skill that I've carried over. But I mean, to be honest, I am a very technologically challenged person, and I did not know how to do simple things like even attach something in an email. I didn't even know how to do that. So I was starting from scratch. And I can even remember taking that original course about blogging and crying, sitting on my bedroom floor crying because I'm like, I don't understand this. I would always say, like to my husband or somebody who was trying to tell me something about the computer or a camera, talk to me like I'm 5 years old. Pretend I'm a 5-year-old because that is the way my brain can understand what you're saying. So, I invested in myself and I did learn. I took every opportunity that I found somebody that I'm like, "Oh, I can learn from that person. They're doing this." And it a lot of times wasn't even in the crochet world, it was somewhere else, and I would just learn, and I do enjoy learning, that's kind of one of my things that I love to do, so, I've always been that kind of person, like, I just love to I wanna learn, and once I get interested in something, I wanna know everything about it.
You know what? I love the way how you said that. You're an inspiration to other people. I always get a question like, how do you start this? I don't even know how to
Mhm,
attach a photo to an email.
mhm,
You are the Now I'm going to refer everybody to you now. Like, I can't do it. I'm like, listen, you know who Elise Rose Crochet is? I know you know. She couldn't even put a file on an
mhm.
email, and
Yeah,
somehow she ran her own crochet business. You can too. Just
mhm.
breathe,
Yeah,
research, and
mhm. It's
learn.
one step at a time. I always tell people, "If I can do it, y anybody can." I mean, literally.
You know what? You're so true. I say the same thing. I always say I am not the best crocheter.
Right.
Somehow I learned how to market myself,
Mhm.
and people found me. Beginners love me. They're like, I'm just learning how to crochet. I'm going to go to Little John Yarns. So
Mhm.
that's my focus right there. So I know that you knit. We
Mhm.
know that you crochet. What other like crafty skills do you have?
I used to do cross stitch, um, but I don't really, I'm not a craft I don't consider myself a crafty person. I'm a yarn person. I love yarn crafts. Um, really, the only crafty things I do is crochet and knit. That's really it.
Yeah, I call myself a one trick pony. People are
Yeah.
like, "Oh, can you sew me something?" I'm like,
Mm.
"Why do you think I can sew?"
Yeah, no.
Even when I'm in my YouTube videos and I have to like sew on a piece of
Yeah.
crochet,
Mhm.
I warn them like, "Listen, I got this. I think this is a whip stitch. I'm just,
Right, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
right,
just do what you can do.
right.
Here's a question from Woven Tail Designs. My girl says, thank you for your kind answers. Do you have any advice for moms that struggle with mom guilt anytime you take extra time to climb that business learning curve? Mm.
That's a really good one. And I will say, if you ever wanna check out, Farmhouse on Boone, she has talked about that, and when she started her business, I mean, she has a huge YouTube channel, huge blog, and she has 8 children, I think. Um, and when she started her business, she did it during nap time and after they went to bed because she wanted to be there for her family. And even though, and this is so crazy, even though my youngest is 22 years old, I still am. I'll feel mom guilt if it's like a Saturday and I'm working and my boys are upstairs and I think, oh no, I should be spending time with them. So I feel like that mom guilt never ever truly goes away. But when I look back, I wish that I had started something for myself when my kids were younger, because I think it would have made me a better mom, to be honest, if I had not been so completely focused on them all of the time. And I think it would have modeled a good thing, even though it probably would have been hard to run a business and have young kids all at the same time. I think it would have been a very good model for them, and I think I would have been happier too to have something of my own that I was working on because I really didn't.
I'm going to counter that. I think you being such a dedicated mom created this person at the age of 40 something to create this business, to homeschool all of your children, to be organized, to plan events, to do all these things, made you into the person who could run a business. I think what you did as a mom was your training ground into
It is.
becoming the businesswoman that you are today. This is me personally, what I'm thinking.
That's a good I like how you're reframing that.
Awesome. Homeschooling, I've only touched that during COVID and
Oh,
and that's it. I'm like,
that was a whole different animal though. That was emergency homeschooling, and that I feel so bad for families who had to jump in like that.
I was like, ooh. Okay,
That's
we're
hard.
talking about the mom guild and trying
Mm,
to run a business.
yeah.
All this is selfless things. You're giving to community, you're giving to your family. What do you do to relax to give to yourself?
Oh, I go for a walk pretty much every single day, and I that is my time. I don't care what the weather is like, and it gets really hot here in North Carolina, but we don't get super, super cold. Um, but I really it doesn't matter if there's a light sprinkle, I will go out in it. But me just getting outside and going for a walk, and I love to listen to audiobooks, but sometimes I listen to nothing and it's just my time to just kind of clear my mind, get some fresh air, move my body. That is I look forward to that every single day.
What's your last audiobook?
My last one was a book by Stephen King called Holly. I have
Mhm.
never read Stephen King before, but, once I turned 50, I decided that I wanted to really push myself to do things that scare me. So, I always was like, "Oh, I don't think I can read Stephen King," but, I absolutely adored that book, and, now I'm kind of in this world of Stephen King, and I'm listening to it right now, and I'm only just a little bit in, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this one, but so far, I'm really enjoying it.
He writes so well. I'm not sure if it's true, but I can ask you a question since you're currently listening to a
Yeah,
Stephen King book. Because I used to read it. I haven't read a book in so long. Now I'm on audiobooks.
yeah,
But I
mhm,
heard Stephen King doesn't use flowery descriptive words in
yeah,
any of his books. It's
yeah,
just
that
straight
makes
to
sense.
facts, but you can visualize it.
Oh, he is this master of creating these characters and these scenarios that but you're right, it's not super flowery and descriptive, but he paints this picture of this world and you can just see the characters and yeah, I loved Holly. Holly was one of my top books I've read in a long time.
Okay, we have another one. And guys, if we're going to be wrapping up in the next 10 minutes, but you have any questions for Elise, make sure you put question marks in front of your comment and so I won't miss it. Hello, Elise. Why did you homeschool your children? Would you recommend it? And would you do it again?
I homeschooled my kids for a variety of reasons. Like I said, I have 4 kids. My oldest was, like 4 years old and reading chapter books. She was so, like, on this one end of the spectrum, and then I had a child with special needs, and I just kind of felt like maybe I knew a lot of families that were successfully homeschooling, and I just loved the dynamic that they had, but also my husband worked for a NASCAR team at that time, and he was on the road. So he would leave on Thursday, go with the team to the NASCAR races, and he wouldn't come home till Monday, and we just felt like with that, if the kids were in school Monday through Friday and he left Thursday to Monday, they would never see him. And so
Yeah.
we kinda thought this would make it a little bit easier for we could adapt our schedule so that they could have that time with their dad. And we just kept going, and, every year we would just say, "Well, let's just keep doing it." But I do recommend it for families that if you have that supportive community, um, I think it's a great option. Would I do it again? If I had to start today at 50, I don't know that I would
Yeah.
because I'm too tired because it is takes so much energy. I think I'm the kind of person that I think that there are pros and cons to every situation. So my kids missed out on some things that they would have gotten if they had gone to public school, you know? They it so I'm not the kind of person who thinks homeschooling is the end all be all and everybody should do it. I think it's an option for some people, but I think you can make great situations out of a lot of different public school, private school, homeschool.
What I do like about homeschooling, I even noticed this in if my son comes home with homework and he needs help with it. My daughter, I didn't have to help her. She was just that first
Yeah.
child syndrome,
The
just
first child, right.
genius.
Yeah.
The my son, I was able to help him study because I knew exactly how he learned. He
Uh-huh.
had
Yeah.
trouble learning the blank slate way that everybody else. Mom knows how her
Mhm.
child learns.
Mhm.
Public school system doesn't know how your child learns. So I
Yeah.
do like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and you dropped off some random information. Your husband worked for like a NASCAR team. Have you met any famous people?
I mean, I've met some race car drivers here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
you.
I mean,
Nobody in the world
I'm
does but you. This is
I
that's,
mean,
that's
I'm
big
not
to some people.
I've never been interested in race cars and all that, so I'm like, I don't know, they just drive around in a circle." I don't know.
Any, what does he do?
What does my husband do now? Well, actually,
For
he has a
in NASCAR, what he did?
well, he worked on the paint. He at one point he did I mean, he did everything. He painted cars.
Huh?
He worked on cars. He became like the car manager. He did business side stuff. I mean, he did so many different things and ended up working at Joe Gibbs Racing doing their oil program. Um and then now he actually has his own YouTube channel. He's the Motor Oil Geek. He actually just quit his full-time job to do his YouTube stuff full time and has his own business and all of that, so
So he looked at his wife and said, "Oh, this
Mhm.
isn't just fun and games. This is a career."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, your kids are getting older.
yeah.
What are you and your husband now that you're like you can be a digital nomad soon, can't you?
Oh, no, I could never do that. I'm such a homebody. I am the biggest homebody you ever met. If I never had to leave my house, I wouldn't. I have 2 cats that are my babies. They are my I could not no. Um, no. I guess we
How much
could, but I wouldn't.
how much do you fill up your gas tank a month?
Oh, well, now that my son has a job and because he has
No.
epilepsy, he can't drive. So we have to drive him. So I'd probably do it once every couple of weeks, but, if it was just me, I mean, it would be like once a month, maybe.
I think all of us crocheters are homebodies.
Yeah.
I put gas in my car beginning of August, it's September.
Oh my
I
gosh,
don't
yeah.
go anywhere. I'm
Yeah.
literally that old lady that goes to the grocery store and back home again,
Mhm.
and that's it.
I know. I'm the same way.
Lori says, Stephen King, have you read Needful Things? I haven't.
No, I
Or
haven't.
you're just starting it.
Yeah, nope.
All right. How do both choose such beautiful color palettes for a project? I'll let you go first.
Um,
Um,
I think that is such a good question because I am the kind of person who thinks that your color palette can make or break your project. I really think that that is one of the most important kind of things that I know that I spend a lot of time thinking about that. And I have a little tip is that if you go to Pinterest and you look up color palettes, like wedding planner color palettes, they've already put these colors together and they're professionals at this. So let's say you want to make something and it's an autumn, you want those warm tones, you could look up autumn wedding color palette. You can even put autumn wedding color palette with pink. You can add some of those, like, you want to use pink, but you want to add some different colors. That is such a great starting place because there's a gazillion of them and you can have warm colors, cool colors, and they put them together in a way that sometimes my brain wouldn't think to put those kind of colors together. And that's one of my biggest tips. It's use Pinterest. That is a free resource. And professionals have already put those color palettes together for us.
I second what she says because personally, I am color incompetent. Yes, I love to match, but I am like the queen of monochrome. I do one color. Let me. Oh, I have to sit on 18 pillows, so just so I can be high enough. The person who helps me with my colors are my dollar because I can't match. When I was a little girl, especially like in the 80s, my mom hated me. There was too many polka dots, stripes, and zigzags, and I couldn't put stuff together. So I'll go to my daughter. She's in college now, and I'll email her color choices from online. She did this one for me.
Oh,
Can you see
beautiful.
it?
Uh-huh.
And when I ordered, I'm like, to me, nothing matched, and I had to trust what she was doing. And I put it together. I'm like, and because of the color choices that she made, that YouTube video blew up. Me, I
Oh,
would have
yeah.
just picked one color, and
Mhm.
not I can't match colors if my life depended on it.
Yeah. Let those professionals, that's the great thing about the internet.
I can't. Do you mind reading this one so I can drink some alcohol?
Yes. Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz was partially right. There is no place like home, but there's no place better than your own couch or favorite chair. Homebodies for the win.
For the win. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
I don't understand how people just can't stay home. Your home is your castle. If you're not happy there, what's the use?
Yeah.
Okay, the pickle pitsy. Same here. I only leave the house for essentials. I walk in the woods or a gig. Live music, the only thing that'll drag me out in the evening. Basically, yeah. Okay, we're pretty much coming to the end. So, Miss Elise, do you
Yeah.
have any tips or recommendations that you would give anybody that wants to be just like you?
I would say if you want to make this a job, like I decided to, treat it like a job from the beginning. And that's really what I did. Once I realized, okay, this is what I'm going to do, I treated it like a job. Even and I'll be very honest with you. I started my business in 2018. I didn't start making money until 2022 and I mean, a very, very part-time income, and it wasn't until 2023 that I made a full-time income. So from 2018 to 2023, I was working for I was probably losing money, but I did, and I will say that that was a privileged position that I was able to do that because I didn't have another full-time job. So I do recognize that not everybody will be able to do that. But even if you can treat it like a job and say, I've got 2 hours. I can give it 2 hours. Treat and get really clear about what you're going to work on. Whether that's, I'm going to learn this skill, I'm going to learn what I need to do next, but treat it seriously, because you don't know, as you're building these skills and this foundation, what it can turn into. But it's a whole lot easier to build your business on a solid foundation than just kind of winging it as you go. But so I think getting intentional about it is my best piece of advice.
Uh, and know what? Thank you so much for coming on my channel. Because of you, during my live stream, I maybe have usually like 50 people live at one point in time. Right now, we had 101. So all of the
Wow.
other 50 people who are Elise's followers, can you please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button?
Yes,
Because I have more
subscribe.
of this.
Yes, yes,
And
yay.
everybody of mine who loves Elise, for some reason, if you don't know who she is, you should make sure you go down into my description box and get on her Instagram, her YouTube, and subscribe, follow all of that. Honey, thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you.
on my
Yeah.
channel. I appreciate it so much. You're the sweetest person.
Aw, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, I guess we are going to wrap this up, guys. And next week, I'll be having another interview with Erin from Juniper. Oh, I can't remember.
Juniper and Oaks.
I'm a such, what
Juniper
is
and
it?
Oaks. Yeah. Erin from
Thank
Juniper
you.
and Oaks. Yeah, she's amazing. Love
So
her.
that's who we're having next week on the channel. So make sure you tune in Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and check her out. So, guys, we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.